Now we're all set for the other part of this program. So hi everybody on YouTube, LICMC, and I'm looking right at our special guest, and she's a doctor of a PhD, Miss Valerie Middlebrook. How are you doing, doctor?
I'm doing well. How are you today, Doris?
I'm doing great. And my radio name is London, since you didn't know
Okay,
that.
London.
It's not your fault.
All
And
right.
I'm looking for you to switch, and maybe it could be probably a little delayed reaction. So someone let me know if you see Miss Valerie uh switching out. It could be delayed. I see you.
Okay.
Okay, so it's probably delayed on YouTube, and it'll probably be there you go. I see you. Okay, we're
All
on. We
right.
are on. So today we have a very, very special show today. I'm so happy to try this live. She's my very first person that's with me that's going live on YouTube and radio. And of course, this will be recorded. And if you don't catch it on Facebook, then I can automatically put it on Facebook. So we have a great topics today. Um, Tell us a little bit about yourself before we get started, Dr. Valerie.
Yes. Yes. My career spanned through the years. I retired from Detroit Public Schools after 30 years of teaching language arts, drama, marketing education, coaching track, cross country, and varsity basketball. I completed my PhD in business and technology and organizational management, emphasizing and focusing on leadership, helping leaders to develop. I've been a licensed minister since 1996.
Wow.
So whatever capacity the Lord used me, I allow him to use me. And my current position, I'm a SNAP education coordinator for Methodist Children's Home Society, which is sponsored by Department of Human Services and Michigan Fitness Foundation. And my job is to teach and help seniors to regain wellness. So I focus on nutrition education, physical activity, and sharing healthy recipes. Just like, for example, for those over the age of 60, 70% are overweight. 60%, about 50 to 60% are dealing with high blood pressure and diabetes. And they discovered that when you give people nutrition education and you motivate them to stay active at least 30 minutes a day, that their health improves tremendously and they're able to eventually wean off and get off medications and have a more thriving life without being sick, but being well. The focus is realizing that as you age, you can stay healthy. You don't have aging does not mean being sickly. But if you have the right tools, you'll understand how to use your medicine and how important physical activity, just walking 30 minutes a day for at least 5 days a week, 4 or 5 days a week, decreases the risk of heart attack by 50%.
Wow.
So moving is very important.
That's a lot.
Yes, that's a lot. Yep. So I use evidence-based and curriculum that has been supplied and really researched and studied to help people to become healthier. And that's what we ended up talking about, some of those topics.
Yes. This is why we're here so immediately, right?
Yes.
I would like to say a little bit too that I met Dr. Then I think you were evangelisting.
Yes.
Still evangelist, but Dr. Valerie, many years ago, as I was engineering at WMKM, to do your show, Prayer Fire. And so, very nice show. And then you also worked along with Tiny Johnson. So I had a chance to see you every Saturday, wasn't it? Every Saturday.
That's right.
That's been quite a bit ago. So we reconnected and we got into a conversation. And since she lets you know her credentials. So some of the things that we were talking about, you may know already, but we are also talking to someone that's a licensed doctor that works in nutrition and other fields. So one of our topics today, I'm going to run through all 3 topics, just name them, The first topic we're going to talk about is purified water. I learned something new yesterday. So we just have to pay attention. Sometimes we think we're really paying attention until somebody tells you something so you can see it and then you can pay more attention. And then the second topic we want to talk about is protein. And then there's something that we were talking about. This is public knowledge about, was it JELANI Day?
JELANI Day.
JELANI Day, who's a grad student who disappeared. He died, but they're having the decisions on. They're not in agreement about whether he died, was he murdered, or so. We want to talk about his life, the kind of young man that was. He wasn't out there in the street doing things illegally. He was an upstanding young man going to studying to be a doctor. So we're going to go through all that. But right now, we want to talk about purified water. It's something which I drink.
Yes.
So what I learned, yesterday talking to Dr. Valerie, which it really was like, wow, I'm going to switch. I don't think it really bothered me yet, but nevertheless, if you know that something's in there that you probably, if you want to go to a pure, more better brand or product. So you told me, this is what you told me yesterday, and I said, oh no, we got to tell other people because a lot of people probably do this. We drink, our whole family drinks purified water. And so you were telling me in purified water, oh, well, there's sodium bicarbonate and this is calcium what? So I want you to talk to us about that and kind of explain it. When I looked on the bottle, I saw that. Yes. You told me I'm drinking sodium. Right. And when you look it all up, it's saying it's sea salt from the sea, salt. So I want you to tell us about that.
Yes. I was explaining to you the difference in waters. And in most of our urban communities, we have access to purified water. And when you're looking for the spring water, you really, some of the stores don't even carry it or is in limited capacities. Purified water is a processed water, okay? And it's processed with chemicals that can lead to toxicity in your body. I have a bottle here, and for example, if you look up the ingredients, it has potassium bicarbonate, sodium bicarbonate, calcium citrate, sodium chloride, and magnesium oxide. And if you notice, I named 3 different sodiums, salt, that are salt compounds. Now, if you're constantly drinking this water, that's what you're taking in. And if you research things like the sodium chloride, and you'll find out some of the side effects is it can affect blood pressure, cause nausea, fatigueness, and other symptoms. So what happens after a while, you build up a toxicity to it because it's being processed with chemicals. And I was sharing with you that it's safer to go with non-processed waters such as spring waters, distilled waters, and mineral waters.
What's
and
that,
you may
Perrier?
Pardon?
I was talking about that.
It's mineral water.
Okay.
Yes. And one thing that I discovered in researching purified water, they put these chemicals in it because they're drying agents, which cause you to be thirsty and to drink more of it. And if it's a drying agent, yes.
Okay. That's all we'll do that.
Yeah, that's right. And that's the ideal, is to get you to drink more. And as a drying agent, you got to look at what impact that's having on your blood pressure, your kidneys. And just, it could be related to health issues also. But you need to be aware when you're buying your water, read the bottle. And see if those chemicals are in it. And if you look those chemicals up in the bottle, if you look those chemicals up, I think like, what is it? Sodium chloride. Some of them they use for lethal injections or industrial um, processes, and we're
Mm-hmm.
putting that in our body.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm trying to help people to live healthier. And how I discovered and became interested in the differences between waters. One year I left a case of purified water in my car trunk over the winter. And when I took it out, I took the bottles out, and in the cardboard box, it was full of white powder. I poured the white powder in a plastic bag, and I called the water company to find out what was this substance coming out the bottles. Come to find out, those chemicals, when frozen, the plastic expands, so they start leaching out of the bottles.
Wow. Like
Yes,
salt crystals or something?
it separates. It's like, it separates like a centrifuge type thing. It separates. The chemicals separate from
Like
the water.
a powdery substance.
Yes. Just like it looked like baby powder or talc powder, but it was definitely a tangible substance. And so envision taking in those bottles of water. If I pulled over a half cup out from being frozen, if how many cups are you taking in if you're buying those cases?
That's just scary.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, I mean, I've had a really good conversation with you. So, um, I decided immediately there's no reason why that I should keep drinking purified water if it's got salt. And while you were talking to me, I looked it up and it says it's nothing straight salt. They say they use it to melt the sodium bicarbonate is used to melt the snow and
Mm-hmm.
all these other things. This is salt, straight salt. So my decision is now, and now spring water to me is
Well,
not the more flavorful water, but you said
mhm.
that's better than drinking the purified water.
Right. And so when you're thinking that you're digesting different compounds of salt, now, if you're struggling with high blood pressure, and if you're on blood pressure medicine, first thing the doctor tells you is to reduce your sodium intake. And so you're thinking you're drinking water and flushing yourself out, but you're drinking sodium in your water.
Mm-mm.
And that's why you really have to be careful. And with sodium is related to hypertension. When you're taking in too much
Right, right,
sodium, that
right.
causes your arteries and your veins to harden and to shrink. Yes. So we have to be more, God wants us to prosper and to be in good health. So we need to understand what's making us healthy and what's making us unhealthy. Now, if you're struggling with high blood pressure, you should not be taking in more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium a day. That's 3/4 of a teaspoon. But if
The
you don't
whole
have
day, the
blood
whole
pressure,
day.
all day for a day. And if you don't have high blood pressure, no more than 2,000 milligrams, which is a teaspoon. Now, I showed you some examples. If you eat a donut in the morning or a pastry, that has about 400, 500 milligrams of sodium in it. And then you're drinking water with sodium in it. And then let's say for lunch, you have some rotisserie chicken.
Mm-hmm.
3 ounces of rotisserie chicken has about 500 milligrams of salt.
There
So
goes
that
the
means
other
that,
1/3 of your calcium, sodium right there, right? For
and
the
that's
day.
just from drinking water, eating a donut, and eating a couple of pieces of chicken. So if
We say we're
you'd have
done.
two chicken wings, would be like 1,000 milligrams of sodium coming from that rotisserie chicken. So you eat that with the bread can be high in sodium. That's why you should eat more whole grain breads as opposed to processed enriched
No,
bleached
whole grain wheat, something like
whole
that, right?
grain wheat, oats, barley, quinoa, glucose. There are a lot of whole grains that we are not really exposed to, but you can find them at health food stores. Wild rice, brown rice. There are a lot of whole grain options out here. And the reason you want the whole grain is because that still includes the fiber or the bran and also the endosperm, which carries the vitamins and the nutrition. But I'm sorry, the germ. But what they leave is just the starchy part. They strip the bran and they strip the germ part, and
That's
they just
white bread.
process the starchy part. Why? Because it gives them a longer shelf life. But if you have whole grain, that's why you see the Ezekiel bread in the freezer. They're trying to preserve it a little bit longer because at room temperature, it will sprout out on you. So, yeah, so you definitely want to move towards whole grain. And, you know, they separate the bran, which is the fiber part. You have to have fiber. And so a lot of times people aren't getting fiber in. And just because it says 100% wheat does not mean it's whole. If it says
so
100%,
it needs to say whole
it has
wheat,
to have
whole
the word
grain.
whole. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And
wow.
so, yeah, so sometimes people are taking in, like, for example, a Chick-fil-A sandwich that people love has over 1,400 milligrams of sodium in it, in the sandwich. And then you add the Chick-fil-A fries with it. Now you're probably talking about over 2,000 milligrams of sodium that you've taken in just from a sandwich and fries.
And that's just one meal.
One meal. And so you're wondering why your blood pressure is out of control. It's because of the hidden sodium.
Hidden sodium.
And
wow.
That's from the water to the fast foods and to the processed foods.
Well, I absolutely was glad when we talked for other reasons, but somehow we got into this topic, which is so interesting with Ivan. I said, look, this will be good if we can just do a special program today just to inform the community about this, because if they're thinking like I'm thinking it's fine. Actually, you know, and I looked at it, but I guess I didn't think it was that much in there. I don't even remember seeing that on there. I just saw purified water. Okay, and to me, it's got a pretty cool taste. There's no taste to it. So now I'm going to change the pattern, and I hope my family will go with me. We'll change our pattern of drinking. It may be a little more expensive because, you know, since I'm not really into spring water that much, I might have to do spring water. Other than that Perrier, that's some expensive water. So, but well, you know, you got to do what's good for the body that's going to keep you healthy. Yes. So, you know, there's nothing. You know, we're worth every bit of whatever's best. You know, what's going to be good for us. So I want to thank you for that. That discussion to me was good for me, and I'm probably sure a lot of other people probably need to know. I do want to say I believe I saw that I went on Facebook and they put our link on Facebook, so you can go on Facebook and see this too at the present time. So thank you very much, CJ Barron, I believe did that. So the next topic we want to talk about is protein.
Yes.
And what the benefits of protein. I know you said protein prevents atrophy, you know, especially if somebody is you know, going through either medical situation or a mature older person that's not getting around, but you need to get that protein. So can we talk about that now?
Yes. Well, you need protein because that keeps your muscular system on your skeletal system strong. Okay. And the way to build muscles is either by eating protein or exercising. Sometimes weight training or just walking, just, you know, using your muscles.
Using muscles.
So, yes. And so a lot of times people have a misconception. They think that they overdo the protein. They think they have protein drinks, and you got to be careful of those because they are highly processed too. Okay. And so you have to really read your labels.
Okay.
Okay. If you're not taking in enough protein and your muscles start weakening and you're not exercising, it takes about 3 weeks for muscles to atrophy or shrink, and it takes about 6 weeks to build them back up. And here's the thing about protein. A lot of times people are taking in too much protein. Your body is only going to process 6 ounces of protein a day.
Yeah, that's what you're saying.
Yep. And
no matter how much what?
Sorry. That's 60 to 70 grams of protein, or about 6 ounces. And that's equivalent to 2 chicken wings. That's all the body's going to process. So some people in the mornings are having
the egg white. Like how much of the egg white would that be?
The protein is only found in the egg white, not in the yolk. The yolk is where the cholesterol and the fat is. So if you just, you know, trying to get protein from the eggs, that's why they sell You can just buy the egg white alone. And
Is
that
that
has
good?
about, that has 7 grams of protein.
Okay.
Okay. Now you can get, so if you're talking about only needing 6 ounces of protein in a day, some people just normal to start off with a breakfast with eggs or an omelet and some type of sausage, bacon, or meat. So that's probably right enough protein, close
That's
to the protein
more
you
than
need
enough.
right there. Yep. And then at lunchtime, they may have 5 to 10, chicken wing dings. We only need two wings.
Wow.
Okay. And then you
Yeah.
add some beans in with it. And then at dinner, you're having a steak, turkey, or other people are relying on meat,
Meat.
meat and meat byproducts for their protein. And I always say, where does the cow and the chicken and the lamb, where do they get their protein from?
Yeah. Where do they?
They get them from plants. They graze the
Okay.
grass,
Yeah.
and the chicken eat the feed and the seeds. So
The cow eats grass, right?
yes,
Okay.
eat that grass, and so they're getting their protein from plants. So
Okay.
when we get our protein from animals, we're really getting secondhand protein.
Secondhand protein. Oh.
Secondhand protein. Okay.
Mm.
Whereas the animal gets its protein right from the plants.
So
So,
in that case, what kind of plants? Say we want to eat. What kind of plants or vegetables can we eat to get protein?
well, you can get proteins from nuts and seeds, walnuts. Almonds are high in protein. Sunflower seeds, unsalted, of course, are high. Almonds, pumpkin seeds, chickpeas, very high in protein. Beans have proteins in it. Lentils are high in proteins.
Mm.
Edamame has protein in it.
What is
Green
that?
leaf
What's that, man?
edamame. Mm-hmm. You can get it from nut seeds. Of course, people, peanut butter. We peanut butter was a staple in our home years ago.
Right.
When
Yeah.
we didn't have
Yeah.
meat, we would have peanut butter,
Peanut
on the
butter.
crackers and on the sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Also, you can get protein from dark leafy green vegetables, collard greens, kale, things like that. You can get protein from soy, tofu, which is a byproduct of that. And
Okay.
just start, if you just ask Google, what are the best sources for plant protein? They will give you all kinds of lists, which will give you a variety. Okay.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, I just have meatless days. And the reason why is that keeps my cholesterol under control. It
Okay.
generally your body produces cholesterol naturally.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have high cholesterol, that's generally coming from animal fat or animal byproducts because the
Now
body,
chicken. Can you get that from chicken too? Like cholesterol?
yeah,
Well, that's
chicken,
from
yeah, that's
beef.
why they tell you don't eat the skin. That's the fatty part of the chicken, the
Fatty
skin.
part. Okay.
Yep. Yes. So, keeping in mind that you just want to take in 6 ounces. A lot of times people are eating a pound to 2 pounds of meat a day. And that extra fat that's coming from that meat and the oils that fried food is cooked in, all the oils are not equal. You have good oils and bad oils. Saturated oils, any oils that harden at room temperature, butter, thank God we offer lard and shortening. Those type of fats tend to have a tendency to cause your cholesterol to spike. So if you're
Okay.
trying to lower your cholesterol, cut back
Mm-hmm.
on the animal fatty products and fatty trans oils. And
What about that?
you'll find a lot of these trans oils in processed food, like cookies, cakes, pies, a lot of those
Everything.
things. So just not from the meat alone. So that's why you have to be aware that when you're struggling with cholesterol and high blood pressure and water retention, that's another thing that processed water do. Some of those chemicals cause you to retain water and swell in your feet and ankles. So
Wow.
it's an aware, so my people perish because of the lack of
Lack of
knowledge.
knowledge. Yep.
Okay. And if you don't know, you keep doing the same wrong thing and you're
Right.
wondering why you're not getting better because your body needs nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Whatever you're eating is going to be broken, it's going into your stomach, and something's going to break it down, and it's either going into your intestines to go into your bloodstream. So whatever you're eating is going to be broken down to go into your bloodstream. Why? Once it goes into the bloodstream, it's pumped by the heart. The heart is a pump. If you're not walking and exercising and moving, what happens when you don't use a pump? It starts sledging up. You start having issues. So keep it in mind that you have to be aware of what's in the food. Okay. Now, once that blood is being pumped through your heart, it's going to every single organ in your body. That's what the blood does. It makes sure that every tissue, every cell, and every organ is receiving nutrition in order to stay strong and also to produce healthier cells. So if you're just feeding yourself toxicity, that's going to still be broken down in your body.
Right.
And it's still going in your blood. And that's why people can find it that they have high levels of fat, protein, sugar, and sometimes they're struggling with their white blood cell count. They're losing immunity, or they're having respiratory problems. Well, your blood also carries the iron which produces the
iron?
oxygen to every organ. Iron.
Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Which converts to the oxygen. What happens to your brain when you don't get oxygen?
It dies.
It dies.
It dies. Yeah.
It dies. So understanding that the purpose of the blood is to make sure that we get nutrition to our organs. So if you're struggling with kidney disease, liver disease, heart disease, lung disease, what are you feeding yourself?
Mm-hmm.
What
you're saying is there is a healing process, because you even said that, like even with atrophy, it might take 3. If you can atrophy in 3 weeks, but you still build up in 6 weeks. So the point of it that you can build up, but you have to make that like a regimen every day to keep the activeness and eating the right thing and not too much of this and not too much of that. Yeah.
Right. And a lot of times people lack motivation. Or sometimes if you have a bad habit over a long period of time, you don't see nothing wrong with that habit.
Right.
And that habit may be causing you not to be healthy. And so just being aware that a lot of times we're over consuming what the body can produce. And then when you're looking at health, starts in the gut. So what you put in your body that's being broken down in your intestines and your gut, it's either creating the good bacteria and the nutrition you need, or else it's making you sick. And that's why you find yourself being bloated, gassy, indigestion, heartburn, acid reflux, because the body's not able to process what you're feeding it. And it's and then you find yourself, having a lot of acid, build up. So, wow. yeah. And it's not that hard. The easiest way to nutrition is, I say, eat whole foods, and try to eat as less processed as possible. The cereal box, full of chemicals, Captain Crunch and Fruity Pebbles, and
the whole they call it the grain, like granolas. And what about that?
Well, granola is basically oats, and you have to, if you're going to use the granola, buy the low sugar, because some of them are very high in sugar. Yeah, so you just have to watch and read the labels again to make sure it's not high in sugar.
I know we look for a lot of gluten-free, but I guess you have to look at the sugar content too.
Yes, because the sugar is hidden in many ways. Like when people say that they're lactose intolerant, that means that they can't really digest the milk sugar. That's what the lactose is.
Milk sugar. Okay.
Yes. So you got the lactose, the maltose, the dextrin, the corn syrup, the fructose, you have probably about 20 or more different sugars under other names.
Wow. Anything with
Yes,
toast in it, it's probably something ends in TOSE.
dextrose. Mm-hmm.
It's something to do with sugar.
Yes.
What about soy products? Like, if you don't, you can't, if you're lactose intolerant, then they have that lactose free milk, like soy milk.
Well, they do have the soy milks and almond milks and cashew milks and oat milks. For healthier reason, oat milk is a very healthy milk. Cashew milk is pretty healthy. Sometimes you got to watch the almond milks because they can be highly processed. Read your label. You
Okay.
know, actually, when you get good at health, you can actually make your own almond milk and your own cashew milk and your own oat milk. It's just learning the process of how you do it, to get the
Okay.
derivatives from the actual grain. But when I'm talking about eat whole, that means instead of eating,
Processed food.
uh, let's say apple pie, eat the apple.
Now,
Okay.
we hard headed people
Mm-hmm.
have to have us. You know what? I learned to bake this pie. It's called a sugarless apple pie.
Mm-hmm.
And with it, but I know you're gonna say something about this too. It's not sugar, but if I take apple juice concentrate and I use that to make the apple pie with instead of sugar. So what's your comments on that?
You say you use
Apple
the
juice
apple
concentrate.
concentrate. That's very high in sugar. That's like if I bake a sweet potato pie, I won't use the cane sugar. I'll use
Brown
raw
sugar,
honey.
raw honey.
Yep, I'll use raw
Okay.
honey.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. So
So like
there
I
are
say, apples are already sweet anyway. They
right.
already have the sweetness. Oh
Hmm.
Lord, we got to start fixing that too, huh?
Yeah,
It's good to know. It's good to
it's
know.
good to know. As we get older, it has an impact on our health. And so how do you get healthier? You do what's healthy. And so when I'm talking about eating whole foods, think about foods that are produced by the sun.
Okay.
Real simple.
Photosynthesis. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Okay.
sometimes yeah, and the best way to do is to meal prep. Shop. If the apple and the pear and the banana is in the house, then you got a quick snack. But if it's not in the house, then you're going to start reaching for junk or go to the corner store or to the grocery, or to the fast food place. So it's having preparation, you know.
Okay. Wow, we just woo,
Mhm.
okay. It takes some commitment, some work, and discipline, I guess. But if you just want to be healthier, you
It's a
can do it.
lifestyle.
Lifestyle.
Yes, and I've been teaching this program for 3 years. I go to the senior living centers, community centers, and teach classes remotely. I deliver a lot. However, I can deliver the message to seniors. That's what I do. And some of the outcomes we've been highlighted in a couple of magazines because, like, for
Wow.
example, I have one man that took classes, and when I just told him he only needed 2 chicken wings, that would be sufficient protein for the day. He thought that was a joke and he laughed. And the next day, he had his doctor appointment and the doctor told him that his cholesterol was over 440.
Oh wow.
So that's when the reality
So now
hit
he
him.
knew what to do after you told him though.
I
Now.
mean, this man, when I told him what to do, he said, I did what you said. I cut down on the protein. I started eating more fiber. I'm eating more whole foods. The apple, banana, the greens. And, he was sharing the things that he was cooking. But in 3 months' time, he got off of, they took him off of his cholesterol medication. His sugar went back to normal. And now they're reducing his blood pressure medicine. And he's lost over 40 pounds.
Wow. Listen. So this is what people need to know. If we can, God has put everything on this wonderful herb that we can eat that's healthy for us, and we can find that and eat it. Like nice, you can go on the internet and find a whole lot of things to eat. I know when I was growing up, we didn't have a whole lot. Everything was like homemade. If we
Yes.
went to stop somewhere for a burger, it was the biggest treat in the world. Every 3 6 months.
Yeah, right, right.
You take your kids just to get a treat, but it wasn't like a usual thing. Like I gotta get a burger every 2 or 3 nights out of the week. We didn't do that.
Right.
So all the food that they did was handmade. Was
Yes.
we didn't eat fast food or processed food. So I think I grew up on that. And then my father, when he found out that he had hypertension, I think he probably was in his 40s. He took everybody off. Like it was
See,
stuff that tasted good to
everybody,
us.
huh?
Like, what happened to that pork bacon and sausage that went with those delicious pancakes? And he took us off of all of that. No more pork. So I learned a lot. I probably, only probably was about 4, 5, 6 years old when I remember that. So I kind of grew up under that. Then I knew that he was trying to. The Lord blessed him to live up until his 90s
See,
because he took care of himself. And, he was a strong man. And same thing with my mother. They were both in their 90s, average or so. But I learned a lot. I know a lot of holistic things from them too as well,
yeah,
because they did a whole, they didn't, they knew something was wrong with you. They knew what to give you
that's
to
right.
heal your body. And it wasn't
Yes.
over the counter, and it wasn't at the doctor's office. It was mom and dad giving us these holistic whatever ingredients that would, and I could tell you, like sometimes the kids want to stay home because they're sick or they just want a reason to stay home. If I was sick over the weekend, if I got sick on Friday, I was well by Saturday, in church on Sunday, and on school
There you go.
all day, every day. I
Well,
remember.
Yeah, they understood holistic medicine, because you got to remember, a lot of us, probably not until like the 50s or 60s, we didn't have health care insurance.
Right.
And so, we had to have remedies. So, God tells us that the healing that we need is in the plants and the seeds that he provides. When you talk about seeds represent life.
Life,
so that's
growth.
What you want to put that life in you.
If
Whatever you're eating produces life, that's healthy for you.
You don't want something that's dead or something like that. That's just, it's not alive, right?
Right, like eating a whole roll of Oreo cookies. What's nutritious in that?
And that's a big mistake, right? The whole roll. I just want to say,
that's just
now we're binging. We're binging. But I want to say too that when I was growing up, my parents found out that he was taken back for the doctor, and I was really young, because they started to figure out, that was one thing I liked about them. They would look at me. They didn't, and see, something. I remember I probably could have been about 3 or 4. This baby's sick. Yeah. I don't know what they saw in my eyes. They can look at you and tell. And they took me to the doctor. I think I might have started maybe 2nd grade or so. I had asthma. And they used to take me to the hospital. I'm telling you, they had kids I remember every 2nd Tuesday of the month, and it was in Ohio. All the kids my age and, a little older, lined up getting this shot that hurt so bad to sway your arm up, wrapped all the way around the hospital hall. I mean, you couldn't see the end of it. And so one day my parents, I heard them say, "We're not taking her back to there no more." So they started giving me, and I thought it was so nasty. Every time I go out the door, mommy will give me a big spoonful of that old nasty cod liver oil.
Yes.
I took the cod liver oil. I didn't have any more problems like that. They took me off that shot. So, and I live by a lot of those things right today.
And those were like natural laxatives. Those were like natural laxatives to make sure that you weren't constipated and backed up, because with disease being in the gut, a lot of times
castor oil now.
Yes. That castor oil, that'll clean you.
Some people don't take no castor oil.
Food grade castor oil will clear you out, okay?
I remember my mother, she'll line us up. And I don't know if we was looking, it must have been, maybe it's for the winter season or something, change the season. Because I wasn't the only one getting it. She would take her a ladle full. I'm looking at her like, she put a little salt in there to kill the taste. Castor oil, and they have something that I can't find now. Maybe you'll find it one day. Syrup of black drop. Mommy says you put the syrup of black drop in there, and castor oil gathers up the infection and all the stuff out, and syrup of black drop makes it come out smoothly. you know what I
Yeah.
have, like a griping stomach. And
Mm-hmm.
shit, I don't think Mama was out here sick. We used to watch her, but she would give us a tablespoonful full of castor oil, and she put a little silverback drop in there, little salt. And I was like, oh Lord, here we got to take this stuff again. But I don't remember
But
anybody being too
no,
bad,
we rare that people went to the hospital. Maybe as they got older,
older.
and see, we're still trying to recover from our slave diet.
Yep,
Because
yep, yep,
back
yep.
then we didn't have refrigeration and stoves, so we had to cook the best way we could, and that's where you got your fish fries and your chicken fries from, because we had that pot on that fire outside, boil that animal
What's
fat,
that
that
pork? What do you
lard,
call that pork? Salt pork and all that.
salt pork. Yeah. um so I tell people that it's important that you understand that you take in enough fiber each and every day to push out. If you're eating 2, 3, 4 pounds of food, some people eat in a day easily,
Yeah,
and then you're not eliminating it.
yeah.
Your colon can hold up to anywhere from 10 to 50 pounds of waste.
Mm. That doesn't never come out.
That
Doesn't get the chance to all come out.
you're not, if you're just eating steak and potatoes
50
and
pounds.
processed foods, nothing green, nothing to push it out, no fiber, no
That's,
whole foods,
not, yeah.
you know,
That's the poison in your system, I would
that's
think.
exactly what it does. And that's
Yeah.
why they recommend you get colonoscopies over the age of 50, because they want to see how much damage has been done from your diet. And they
Mm.
find the polyps and different disease, and they, can correct you right then. But it's serious,
It's very
and
serious.
we used to somehow we've disconnected from that type of understanding, that's been passed down to us. Some of the
Yeah.
baby boomers, we still remember that. But if
Yeah.
you notice, it's hard to find those products. You got to know where, you got to go to the
Yeah,
health food
you
store, you got
can't
to
get them in
order
the
them
store.
online. It's not in your neighborhood.
Yeah, you can't get them. Definitely not. So,
Mm-hmm.
but we got to come back and talk about some more health things. Then we got one more topic that we want to talk about. We should have brought that to my attention, which I'm always interested in listening to. When African American person, young person, male, female, child, man, woman, something happens to them, and it's people feel that it's foul play. And so, can you tell us about this young gentleman that you
Well,
now, this
yeah,
is public knowledge that you are reading. So everybody, I want you to know some public knowledge. And she's just going to bring it to our attention just in case you didn't read it. Maybe you can read up on it. Can you tell us about him?
yes. Well, leading into him about him, what strikes me and alarmed me is we
Say
have
his
a
name
lot of
again. Jelani Day.
Jelani Day.
Okay.
Jelani Day was had graduated from undergraduate, and he was attending graduate school, trying to be a doctor in speech pathology. Him and his sister were both kind of like competing with each other to become doctors. And so he was a very motivated young man, and he disappeared. And when they had that whole big blow up about the Gabby, the white girl with her boyfriend that was found dead, it was just everywhere. And the mother got upset, saying that her son had been missing for a couple of weeks, and she hadn't had no contact with the police or no cooperation. So they found his body in the river. And they said that there's a dispute. The coroner is saying that he drowned, but this young man swam on the swim team in college. He was a master swimmer. He was an avid swimmer. Okay. So they found his car one place, his ID another place, and his license another place, and his clothes another place. And then they found him in the water. They said he had been in the water, but whoever put him in that water, they understood how the body deteriorates.
You said this was recent too, though. Recently.
Yes, they found his body the first week in October, I believe.
But he went missing a month ago.
Yes, in September.
And how old was he?
I believe he was about 24 or 25. Okay, but he was working on his master's.
Oh, wow.
So his mother is disputing the coroner saying he drowned because, and they was like, I don't know how a young man would drown himself and commit suicide when he has a thriving life and he talked to his mom every day. Something happened. And so the coroner saying drowning, but the families had 2 autopsies. And what's alarming is that whoever put them in that water, they understood that when you put bodies in water, they deteriorate like 5 times faster. So you
Okay.
really can't see the damage that was done before he went in the water. But from what was left, his eyes were missing, part of his jaw was cut out, and his teeth.
So you were
And
literally cut out.
yeah, and I believe his brain was missing and his organs. They're trying to say that his organs liquefied. But the point I'm making is we're having an issue in our community with our young women coming up missing and being trafficked, children being snatched, and young men also. That's the point I'm making. This is just not happening to women and children. It's happening to our brothers also. And I just want to implore us as a people to be more protective of each other as a people, because we need to understand our value as a people. I was sharing with you that the price for a gram of gold is about $53. You know, it fluctuates a little bit on the market.
Okay.
So it's $53 a gram for gold. But on the market, it's about $530 with a little fluctuation for melanin.
And that's what got me too, because melanin is sold and used. Who has melanin?
Yes. And so the thing with what I want us to understand our value is that, you know, what do they use melanin for? They use it for melatonin, and they use it, the ethereal, the heavens. When they send spaceships up, they coat those spaceships with melanin. Why? Because melanin absorbs ultraviolet rays and heat.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. So if you weigh each Black person, you know, our weights fluctuate, but generally, I'm going to say if you weigh us by grams and you put us on the market, each one of us is worth about $40 million in melanin, one person. Think about that. That's how valuable we are. Yeah. Wake up.
And that's just one part of the value.
Yes.
That's a big value right there.
And I was also sharing that, you know, when they do organ transplants, they prefer organs from people of color because they have less rejection. Okay. So with this young man, there's people are demanding justice, and it's just so many unopened questions, you know, left on unanswered questions, and it's not making sense. It's just like, you know, it's like covering it up and trying to sweep it under the rug, but the mother is refusing to allow it. So I think that should wake us up as a people. You know, we have to be careful, see, because, you know, we have, you know, Satan is an enemy and he uses people, right?
Right. And market anything that's worth money, that's marketable. And it seems like I'll tell you, we are a target for many types.
We are a target for many things. For our organs.
Other races, we are a target to other races too. So, you know, we can look overall at the situation. And I'm glad we're talking about that, because I even, you know, want to eventually talk about the fact that people don't realize, you know, when you're born into this world, the doctor gets paid, hospital gets paid, a lot of people get paid. Then when you have a doctor visit, many people are getting paid from that one visit. And then when you have to go into the hospital to get any type of surgeries, many people are getting paid. You know, not to say we don't need doctors. We just pray to God for a good doctor that's going to be caring and uncorrupt. But and then if you pass in the hospital, there's insurance on that bed and that person that passed. So it's like it's a money market for people in every which way. But
they can't make money off of you if you're healthy. Well, but if you're sick for 15, 20, 30 years and you're taking the same prescription for 40 years, add that up.
Add it up.
Yeah.
They get kickback money for every prescription that's written for you. You know. So I have a situation that I'm working on now about someone doing some corrupt things about that, you know, which hurt people, and kill people. Then you have to weigh this. It's deep because I, my heart goes out to people that and they say, well, the people of color, you're the deprivated ones. You are most susceptible to this and that, and the other. But I do know this, that sometimes we don't get proper treatment if we're not well. So if you go in the hospital emergency, you don't get proper treatment. Oh, they say, well, they died from this and that, but we no, you didn't wait on us properly. And then you wonder, is the racism involved in this situation? Because I've run into some people when they look right at you and the attitude, you know, uh, already when you come in, you have to beg for this, you have to beg for that. And I'll never forget one of the ladies was a doctor. This tells me, even if you are well to do, well educated, upstanding, even from rich to wealthy, and you're African American, you still can be treated differently. So the doctor, I don't know, was that you I was talking about? The lady had COVID, and they put it on the news too. So this is public knowledge again. Mm-hmm. And she was saying that if I die,
I remember that. I saw that.
Not treating me properly. She had COVID. They are doing nothing for her. Things they shouldn't be doing for her. Things that she needs, they was not giving that to her. And so she did die. But I guess maybe she said, I'm gonna get this message out anyway. Mm-hmm. So our thing is, we need God so bad.
Well, we have to wake up because God says in the latter days, he's going to gather us, and so we have to become more unified and more of a community. I'm a firm believer that, I'm not a believer in so much the mega church. I believe in mega communities. Mm-hmm. Our communities are lacking because they're not.
The community does make it a special word. Yes. We're not living up to the word.
And that's the church's role in the community, is to build the community. But if you're just building the church and the community around you is being exterminated and dying, and you're not being proactive in your community, you're riding in and then you're riding out. But we should be community builders because we have a food desert in our community. We have, like, in each community, I've done a lot of research. In each community, you might have 15, 20 fast food places and only maybe one grocery store. In the whole city of Detroit, there's only about 65, 68 grocery stores. Let me get my charger.
I know.
And I know you don't see right. Fruit markets, farmer markets. We're really lacking in our community.
That's true. For people that can't get out of their neighborhood, they and I've actually seen this. They might buy some food that is rotten or the meat's not good. But my thing is, it's a disrespect because that nobody cares if you buy this food. The food should be thrown away. Actually, we shouldn't be.
No one's being proactive, and that means a lot of seniors, if they don't have help and support, they're eating from the gas stations, the corner stores, and believe it or not, in a lot of our communities, people are eating from Family Dollars, and 90% of what's in there is processed. I had to get my charger.
Okay. Okay. So, yeah, it's a lot to talk about, but all this conversation came up when we was talking about that young man. And so now what's happening now is the authorities, the legal authorities are being questioned now, the medical authorities are being questioned now to dig deeper. I did read some of the articles that I read about him, and the officers were saying he had a 3000 Chrysler, nice car. They said the way the car was at, usually you don't find a car like that off somewhere, like somewhere out that's not on the street or whatever. So they thought that person thought that was strange that the guy with a nice car is out somewhere. That probably, reeked to him foul play when he saw that car out there.
Yeah, and they said he was 60 plus miles away from the college campus. They said they had never known him to be in Peru, Illinois ever. So they wondering, how did he get there? Who took him? What
So
happened?
where
Conveniently,
was he?
all of,
Where's the school?
I
What
believe he
college
was
was he?
at I one well, he was at the university. Was it Illinois? Might have been
But he was
Illinois.
60 miles away from his
Yeah, he was
school.
60 miles away, and he had an appointment that afternoon with a professor. So for him to be out there, and he was all his mom was saying that he just didn't miss classes. He had a clinical, he missed
So he
that.
didn't make it to the professor then, I take it, then
No, he
either.
didn't make it to the professor. He didn't make it to his assignment or his patient that he was to look at. He just literally disappeared until they found that body in the river.
So we're gonna keep up with this story, but when you think about it, we're talking about parts of his body missing, like his jaw. You said you read that his jaw was literally sawed off. It was taken out. It didn't
Yeah.
deteriorate. It was taken out,
Mm-hmm.
and also his eyes were missing. They
Yeah.
didn't deteriorate. They just was out of the socket, gone.
Well, see, that's a person, whoever put them in that water, that's the person that has expertise.
And the brain
Because,
is gone.
huh?
Because the brain was taken.
Yeah, well, but see, if you put them in the water and the body deteriorates 5 times faster, you don't know whether it liquefied or what exactly happened. So it
Okay.
leaves those question marks, which don't make sense for avid swimmer. That
So it's time for forensics needs to get seriously involved, and I see why the parents had second opinions, especially when they gave them, they gave them the description of what they said what it was, and of course, you can also feel and tell when something's just not right.
Let me tell you something else. The young man's father has cancer and is in the hospital. And the young man was a perfect donor match, bone marrow match for his dad. Mm-hmm. And so I guess when he was finishing up the semester, he was going to, sorry about that, I'm trying, when he was going to give his father his bone marrow. So he was in the donor listing. His marrow was a perfect match for his dad. He was the only one whose marrow matched. So I'm saying with him being in that donor bank and his marrow being there as a match for his father, I'm just curious as to, was that connected? Who else did his marrow
like a
and
universal
organs
match.
match up with?
Yeah,
Pardon?
universal match. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm wondering, what sometimes, like Henrietta Lackey, whose cells are still reproducing today, okay, genetically, for him to be a match for his dad, there's an organ shortage, there's a marrow shortage. So that just makes you wonder, who's looking at, when you go into the hospital, who's looking at your blood and who's seeing, when you match up organ and marrow, if it pops up in that bank that they have, how many other people matched him?
Wow.
I'm just throwing that out there, so we can't be naive in this world. Pardon?
It's a lot of questions to this.
It's a lot of questions because the young man's marrow was going to save his dad's life, but makes you wonder.
Wow. So right now, where they are now is the mother is pursuing the police and pursuing. She had her own medical people that are looking for seeing what's going on.
And she's trying to get the FBI involved. And I believe that the Push or Rainbow Push organization is also supporting her in the community in Illinois. So
this is like really close to us. Illinois isn't that far away, and it can happen.
And this is happening more than what we realize. People just don't disappear from the face of the earth.
I was trying to look up that word too. I didn't ask for the right because there's a word I can't think of. It's called mitosis or cell division but when they can take that cell and reproduce a whole nother person, if they can get your cells, what do you call that? Some genetic thing they can take from you, and they can
like a regeneration. Her cells regenerate. They just keep growing.
Yes, another. I'm trying to think what that word is. But you know, it's been kind of scary because we've been seeing it all along. How they say, I said the chromosome duplication, division, demonstration. Uh, that word won't pop up for me. What they call that, where they can actually, like some people will get their stem cells, and then they can that was it when they said when they die or when they get old or whatever, the child that could be born could be have the same mind, same cell, same everything, same makeup, same look.
You
You
talking about
know,
cloning?
kind of
No.
cloning. There's another word for what you call it when you preserve those cells.
Mm.
But I can't find a reach for it right now.
Mm.
But you know, so they've been working on these things for a very long time, things we don't even know about. And for over years, you don't know why all the people are always missing. Some people are
Right.
missing and never found.
And I
Never.
made a point yesterday. We have children missing, adults missing, and seniors missing.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And families need answers. So when you look at how nutritionally we bring poison and how we lack knowledge in proper health and nutrition, and then we have to also combat being attacked and snatched. You know, it's a wake up call. You know, we got to wake up out of our slumber and help each other health wise, help each other in protecting and guarding our communities. You know, not mistreating, robbing, and stealing our elders from our elders, but protecting them, covering our young people, you know, and having eyes and seeing what's going on. It bothers me that we can't go into the Jewish community. We can't and just walk around and wreak havoc. We can't go into white communities and do that. But any and everybody can come out of our in and out of our borders and do what they want.
Whatever they want.
And and you know, we have to help ourselves.
Yeah.
You know,
Really.
and
Yeah.
that's where the churches, the schools, our city municipals and governments, you know, like we have to care again.
Well, we that's something we really got to work on. And talking about it is one good thing. If we can sit and
Yes.
talk about it like we're doing and put it on a global platform like we're doing right now,
Mm-hmm.
hopefully somebody will hear it. They'll think about it. I do believe a lot of people may not even they don't either don't understand or like you say, just not aware of what's going on. Or we see these things, we're like, well, what's going on? And I know some of us do feel like it's a lot of foul play that goes on, but what do we do about it? So I guess we need to be on guard. We need to watch where we go. You need to watch traveling alone out someplace. I don't know. And then God is the answer to everything. We
Yes.
need God and prayer, but also we need the knowledge, the wisdom, and awareness of what goes on.
Yes.
When you become
And the Holy
aware of. Hmm.
I'm sorry. The Holy Spirit will show you of things to come. He will teach and lead and guide you in truth. So, when the Hebrews were enslaved in Egypt, they couldn't get out by themselves.
Hmm.
The only way the same way that the Hebrews got out of Egypt with the help of God, with his supernatural intervention. I
Supernatural.
believe it's going to
Supernatural.
take us being connected to God supernaturally to
Amen.
deliver us in a mighty way and to
Amen.
wake us up. We're not going to be able to do this without the help of the Holy
You
Spirit
can't.
and
You can't
without
do
the
it.
Heavenly Father having our ear.
Amen. Wow. Well,
Yes.
we've had an awesome, great conversation. I'd like to come back and talk about some more one day. I don't know when, but this information was very vital and important. It's important to
Yes.
me, and I'm the kind of person that works out in the media field, and like you like to convey this information and put it out there. Somebody can look at, this information will be or can stay on YouTube, and
Yes.
we're gonna when I get done, I can just put this on Facebook if Facebook didn't see it. I seen somebody had put the connection on Facebook where I
Mm-hmm.
saw it on Facebook and it took them right to YouTube.
Oh,
But
okay.
I'm probably gonna take this video and
Mm-hmm.
just put it on Facebook again. It's gonna stay on YouTube. Good conversation.
Yes.
Uh,
And God tells us to cry loud, spare not.
Yeah.
going to the highways and to the byways and, speak urgency into my brothers and my sisters. Take care of yourselves.
Yeah.
Just stop putting any and everything in your body. You seeing people walking around looking half dead. Well, if you eat only that which is dead, then you're probably just producing death in you. But if you want more life, eat more things that are alive, more fruits, more vegetables, things that have seeds in it from the earth. So we wrapping it all up and just saying, let's work
I
this
just
thing
want to
out.
say to you, I know the Lord hooked this up for me just because I just wanted to see how you're doing. That's all. So much has been going on over time with the COVID and all these different things that's going on. So I looked at my phone and I thought about you before, and I saw your name before. And I said I'm just gonna give her a call. But this conversation, I thank you for the conversation and the insight because just for me, I'm going to make the change because I felt that I was doing everything the proper way as much as possible. I was as much as possible, but now that I see right under my nose what's here, so I'm going to look to rectify that.
Yes, because with information comes revelation, and from that we get inspiration.
And I just want to thank God for taking care of us, though, and still blessing us to be healthy like we are. If you're doing something, you try to do right that you know of. Yes. But when you find out something else that's gonna treat you better, then that's gonna make it even better. So God bless you. I hope that we can do some collaboration. I don't know. We'll see what God will do. But
okay, gladly. If it means informing people and helping people and being supportive, you got my ear. I'm here.
Well, hey, thank you very much. I know it's been a long day. We've been working, but we were working up to this. And some of the other work that we do is all about this global media, reaching out to people in the community. So you've been on the trail on the prayer fire and the trail of fire for a long time.
Yes, Lord.
And so congratulations on your doctorate that you have your PhD and all the knowledge that you have and all the things that you're doing. So God bless you. Anything else you want to say to anybody?
Well, I just want to say, just remember, God put us here to be of service to mankind. Amen. So let's be of good service to each other.
To each other.
Yes.
We do. We need to turn our love to each other, our care and our attention, and share the information, share the knowledge, and just care. CARE is a big word. Care.
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna keep up with this story. I don't know which way it'll go, but
well, we're just praying for the family and that God will give them the answers they're searching
for. Praying for justice. Praying for justice.
Justice, reign.
Revelation and whatever needs to be done, that God will do that for them. And just watch out for all of us.
Yes.
People everywhere, and especially you cannot sweep it under the rug that certain people of color, such as our color, are targeted. It's just a fact, We ask that we pray for all people. We ask God to bless all people, but we are most targeted in a negative manner.
Yes.
Now, I'm gonna say this before we go. That you remember the facial recognition thing? I studied on that a little bit. And young lady, she even went to, I don't know if she talked with a president or who she talked to take the facial recognition away, because it was happening here, I think in Michigan and some areas where African American males had been targeted by the cameras for facial recognition, and they were being falsely accused of something because the facial recognition was not exact. So it's like putting everybody into one bucket. So, okay, that was put on hold 2020. 2020 is up. But as I look at the airports now I'm pretty sure you've probably seen that. A couple of airports, and even they said in Michigan, that the facial recognition is being used at the airport for you to come in and just, she took it. And everybody I saw on there were people of color, took your mask off and then went through. You don't need your ID. You don't need your ticket. all you need is your face.
Yes.
So what I'm hoping and praying for, I said it's back. It came back another way, but hopefully it'll be in a positive manner and they tighten up on this thing. So, especially when it comes, if it's back with the airport, then I just believe it's going to be back used to target people in a crime, and it might be still uh, uh, innocent people that are being affected by this that didn't do it, but the facial recognition, they call it algorithm.
Right.
Algorithm, what it does, it deletes the fault of, it is somebody's fault because they set their algorithm up according to how they feel. If it's a
Mm-hmm.
racial issue, somebody set it up like that. It's set up to, if it's a person of color, this thing was deep. You go to buy a house, you go get this or that, you're not going to get that house, and you can have good credit, you can have upstanding person, and you still might not get it. And it happened to a guy that was a Mexican. He said it just tore his whole reputation down. But they say they use algorithms so they can take the fault off of the humans. You know what I'm saying? So you're gonna blame it on a computer that I got discriminated against. But whoever built that came from a mind of a human, right?
Yeah.
So that's just a lot more that we have to stay aware of.
Well, one of the problems with the facial recognition is the darker you are, the harder it is for it to discern who you are. And then facial recognition has been around for a few decades. And the reason I say that is that I remember I would have to take groups of students down to Washington, D.C., and as part of student government projects. And I remember when we would be outside the Capitol, before the President Obama's entourage would come up Pennsylvania, they would have these cars that came up, and they would have these facial recognitions. They would scan the whole crowd up and down. Wow. That was all lined up against the streets. So they was taking pictures of everyone's face anywhere in the vicinity. And then once they scanned everybody and recorded it, then the president's entourage would come, after the Capitol Police and all of that scanned the crowd. So if anything happened en route, they would go back to those scanners to look at every face that was in those crowds. So it's been around for a while, but now instead of just in a government level, they're trying to make it a public level.
Yeah, that's where the issue has been. And when I was reading the articles, it said the government discriminated on people of color, and so the darker you are, so the lighter you are, closer to white or light, you don't get it may be more effective, but the darker the skin, the more bad situation that could come from that. Also, women, it discriminates against women, and they had in line women, then men, and then darker men, and then darker people. That was, and so he just say you did something because you look like something, but you don't even know that wasn't you.
Right.
So yeah. I'm just hoping and praying that they get all the kinks out, so that people won't have to suffer. That it's not fair, and it's not right, and it's in an injustice to people,
Yeah.
It's the way
yeah, because our world is changing.
Yeah.
Technology is changing. Pretty soon, even our form of being identified. That's what we're in the process of doing.
It's happening right now. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's what's happening. I mean, you go to the airport. They say the lines are going to shoot. They had to do it because of COVID, and now everybody's flooding the airport. So everybody I saw on there happened to be almost everybody was people of color going to the airport, put a mask on, stand in front of the thing, went right through. That's it. So I guess that's a plus on that end. But you think about all the other things. We just have to stay aware, stay educated, stay informed, try to find out what's going on. Sometimes you watch the news, you find out something.
Yeah, that's true.
So, Doctor, look, I know it's time to go, so you can enjoy the rest of your night. And we both enjoy the rest of our night. But it's been a very wonderful pleasure talking to you. Thank you for all the nutritional information, which has made a change for me just overnight.
Amen.
Immediately.
Amen.
Yeah.
Yes.
So God bless you. Is there anything else you
Okay.
want to say to anybody before we leave this social media?
Well, I'm just saying that in this season, what we're dealing with, this kind comes out but by prayer and fasting. And
Amen.
as the family of God and brothers, sisters in Christ, we have to take our salvation serious as well as our deliverance and our healing serious because God is the great healer. Christ is the great physician.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trusting in the Most High.
Amen.
Put your trust in God
Yeah.
before you put your trust in man. Hello?
Hey, that's big. That is the word. That's the word of the century. And also, I would want to say, after all the conversation that we have, we love everybody, and the world is changing because of all the things that's transpired over the past 2 years. It's been
Yes,
coming, but it's like bam, like a blew up, and people of all race, white, Asian, Latino, blacks. A lot of us have still joined together to
that's
make a
right.
change. So I want to acknowledge that part. That is a
Yeah,
positive side of things that's going to help us all, especially those that are targeted. It's going to help us pull us out of the situation because there again that word of care, unity, community, the people working together, and if people of all uh, race, all
so,
colors.
and being brothers and sisters in Christ, that's everyone, right?
And that's
That
anybody, yeah,
believes.
everybody. That's right. So we want to thank God for that. So we want to leave on a very beautiful highlight that
Yes,
that's what's going on in the world today. God does have deliverance from us in many, many different ways. And there's many of us that do love other people that's not the same race. I know that. And I
yes,
will say many of us have multicultural race within our own family and bloodline. We know that too.
I do for sure.
So
Yes,
hey, here we are. We just need to work together and pray. So
just keep loving. Yes,
keep loving each other.
yes,
So now I'm gonna find a way. YouTube, listen. Thanks for watching. I want to say hi to the Wright family, which is my family, and the Washington family, CBS TV, and CJ, and anybody else that's looking that's gonna look at this. Uh, Hi, God bless you. We love you, and we'll be back if the Lord says the same.
yes.